Hello, friends. Welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be doing my 2025 planner lineup video. I'll be showing you guys the 5 major planners that are in my catch-all Frankenplanner setup, how I'm going to be using them, going over those simple things, as well as showing you guys a little bit of the prep work that goes into taking printables from my shop and moving those into planner inserts, if you will. So if that sounds good, let's jump in. Okay, friends, so first off, you want to have a place to store the pages. I have here some gold metal discs along with an old Happy Planner cover and some DIY dividers ready to go for storing the printables. Next, you want to have all of the printables ready to go, printed out on some quality paper. I like to use HP Premium 32 paper, and I've set them up in the order that I wanted it to print so that everything should go nicely into my planner when I'm all finished. I use a guillotine cutter to do the cuts on my printables. It allows me to do a month at a time and cut all those pages down at once. I start with the side, usually the long side, and line up the crop marks at the top and the bottom as close as possible with my guillotine cutter. And then I will just keep turning the page 90 degrees until I get to the final side to do a proper cut. Now, I know a lot of you guys have just kind of wanted to see a visual of this since it's been a while since I've actually filmed this part of my setup process. So basically what you want to do, no matter what type of cutter you're going to be using, is the very first cut, you want to make sure that you're lining up both the crop marks. But as you go, you'll notice that you only have one crop mark left to use as a guide. That's why I turn it 90 degrees clockwise so that that cut mark is always at the top. I have a hard edge at the top to keep everything at right angles. So like I said, for a guillotine cutter, that works really well. If you're using a cutter without that straight edge guard at the top, you may need to do a little bit of measuring to make sure that you're cutting at the right angle at the bottom as well as the top. But for simplicity reasons, I would say use a guillotine cutter, use slide cutters. One of those options would be your best bet because of that straight edge and allow you to really cut a lot of pages all at once. Once you've cut the first 2 sides, you can use the measurements at the top of your cutter to get the right sizing for your page on the last 2 cuts. It's most important on the final cut because you won't have any crop marks left to guide you. You'll need to know what the size of your paper is supposed to be, and that's how I make that final cut for my classic size Happy Planner. So I cut those first 2 marks just using the crop marks as a guide, and then for the third side being a 7-inch size for a classic Happy Planner. Then the final one, I measure out to 9¼ inches and make that final cut. It's pretty simple and straightforward if you do it that way, and you're pretty much guaranteed to have good results using my printables with the crop marks. Usually you'll be able to cut off all of the crop marks so you won't see those on your final prints. And you get a nice clean edge along with any bleeds for any of the printables that allow so. If you're using a letter size page, you won't be able to get that full bleed. But other than that, most other options will allow you to get a full bleed to the edge of the paper. And now I am hole punching these pages, and I'm using my Happy Planner punch because it's the fastest way to do it for multiple pages. However, it can only handle like 2 sheets at a time. So this process is a little bit tedious, but it goes fairly fast. I tend to have to push down pretty hard too on my punch because it's a very sticky, temperamental one. But if you have one of the newer or the nicer ones, I heard the big ones are better than the classic size ones were. If you don't have this punch in particular, you might not have as much struggle as I do, but I have a very love-hate relationship with this planer punch. I only really use it a lot, once or twice a year, so it's not too bad. Once you get through this process of punching the holes, no matter what kind of punch you're using, that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple method. If you are going to get into doing planner printables, I do recommend both the guillotine cutter I showed earlier, something like that, as well as a punch like this Happy Planner punch or an arc punch or Levenger punch, just depending on your needs. Do note that the hole sizes do make a difference on your planner punches. So for consistency, stick with the same style of hole punch throughout your planner so the pages are lined up appropriately. The final step is to take those pages and then put them into your storage binder or your final planner if you're only doing one planner at a time. The way I have it set up is mainly for storage because I pull out 1 month at a time, adding that into my catch-all Frankenplanner system. So I need a place to house all the inserts until I'm ready for them and that month approaches. So just dropping them in, using those dividers to make it easy to find them, and that's it. Okay, so here is my first planner that I'll go through for you guys. I'll be using this planner as my annual planner. I've got a cover from an old Happy Planner as well as some plastic discs. Again, all of my setups for my printables are just using items that I have in my stash as a storage binder of sorts. So I just grabbed some things and put them together to make this planner. And here I have the printables available from my shop. This first part is going to be just a year at a glance. These come with all of my combined planners and my yearly planners. Next, I've put in a future log, again in my shop. This has been great in 2024 for adding in events and appointments that I need to have at hand for reference in my catch-all, but can't really move in because I only have a month at a time in my, Frankenplanner setup. So this is where I can see the full year at a glance, what's to come, and then I migrate these events over into my monthly setup as the months approach. Then I went ahead and printed a perpetual calendar right on the back of that. This is going to be used for my freelance design business. I have a number of clients with different deadlines and things, so I'm just going to use this as an overview to keep track of when things are due. Probably won't be sharing this section with you guys, but it's something I definitely need in my planner, so I have that printed right on the back of that future log. And then I also have this habits setup as well, an annual habits. This has worked out great for tracking my self-care habits for 2024, so I'm going to be using that again in 2025. So that's the end of the pages that will remain in my planner throughout the year. And then we also have one more section as part of my year planner that I'm calling my Memory a Day monthly. And I'm doing the same setup as I did in 2024, using the lined monthly from my shop. Keep things nice and neat and tidy when I write things in. Basically, I'm just going to be putting in a highlight each day with maybe a doodle or something, but just a quick and easy way to memory track throughout the year. And on the back, I have a notes page that I'll be either using for tracking my media for the month, things that I've consumed like books, TVs, movies, or I actually may do a currently, as most of the planner community does, on this page as well. I haven't decided what I want to do yet, depending on what I do with the collections pages that I'm thinking of creating for 2025. But that is the full setup. I am using dividers from an old Happy Planner here as well. You're going to see either handmade dividers or dividers that I am repurposing from old planners. And I have the rest of the months all ready to go in here for 2025. So this planner is set up and ready to go. Next, we'll go through my faith planner. You did see a majority of this setup in the previous part of the video, showing the prep work for creating a planner like this for the year. I have some gold medal discs and my Happy Planner cover on there, as well as some DIY dividers. No annual pages for this, so we go straight into the monthly. And the inserts that I'm going to be using, or the printables I'm going to be using, are all from my Etsy shop. This first one is called the Faith Overview, and in it you have a spot for a spiritual check-in, prayer list, some habits, and then lots of open space for decor or whatever functional needs you want in your faith planner. Really love this setup. Then I have a month on 2 pages. This comes standard with my combined planner setup, so I have that along with the weeklies to come here in a second. I use this page to track my daily Bible reading, so I'll put in the scriptures that I read at the top of the boxes or at the bottom, and then I'll put in an application or a takeaway from that reading just to know that I've absorbed the information. So that's how I'll be using this one in 2025, same way that I was using it in the years past. I also will be using the quadrant layout once again for 2025 for my Bible verse lettering. I grab a verse of the day out of a Bible app, and then I letter it in each day with hand lettering or brush lettering, whatever I'll be doing there. I will be looking to do a little bit of extra flourishing in 2025, practicing that and seeing how that goes. So basically the same setup that I had in 2024 for the entire planner. No real changes here. On the back page, this was kind of in flux throughout the year in 2024. This year, I think I'm going to try to follow along with a printable that comes out every month from Little Faith blog. It's like a calendar of scripture reading, and then usually there's some other activity or fun that might be added in there. So I think that will be a nice way to not overthink this page, but get some extra spiritual growth going for the new year. And that's it. I have the whole planner set up for the year, since this planner has been pretty much a rock stable planner for me as far as functionality and enjoyability. So no major changes really in this setup. Next, we have my health planner. This one, I am trying a few things out, so I've only printed out the first month for the year in case I need to make changes. I'm using some metal purple discs from my stash, along with this super old Happy Planner Fitness cover that I really enjoy, so I was happy to find this in my stash and bring this back out for a little bit more use. At the front here, I have some annual pages that I've set up. Same pages that I used in 2024, but just organized a little bit differently. I have the health stats page here at the front, where I track basically my health stats in a monthly format throughout the year. Got my monthly totals, as well as my daily averages, which are both very useful information to have, seeing as each month has a different number of days. And so this doesn't always give you the full picture, whereas the daily averages really does. This is not available in my shop currently, but if it's something you guys are interested in, please let me know and I'll see about bringing it to my shop. There wasn't enough interest last year for me to really put it out there, but if you guys want it, if I get enough interest, I will definitely see to bringing it to my shop. Also, too, I have this measurements and weight tracker set up, same as I used in 2024. I really enjoyed it. I like seeing all the measurements all at a glance for the entire year. I also like tracking my weight daily. I usually put period information on here as well, just so that I can see how that corresponds with my daily weight fluctuations. And just some really good pages. And again, not in my shop currently, but if there's interest, let me know down below in the comments so that I can bring it to the shop. If by chance you're one of the only people that want this and it's not enough for interest, you can always reach out to me through Etsy, through my Etsy shop on the Messenger, and I'd be happy to quote you on this layout for a custom item. Nothing on the back here for now. I may end up doing a health goals page here, or I may end up adding in an insert I did a couple of years ago with just some like health tips and things, reminders to keep in mind for healthy living and growth in health and fitness. So that might be what ends up going here as just kind of like an add-on in the back, since I already set it up as a DIY project. I do have a video on it, so when I do my planner setup and decide what's going to go here, I can link that video for you if that's something you're interested in. So those are the annual pages. Now we're going to get into the monthly pages. And like I said, I've only done 1 month because we're doing some different things for 2025. This setup is very similar to how it was in 2024. I do have my step tracker mixed with my habit tracker here. This is not available as is in my shop, but I do have a step tracker full page layout available in a number of different setups as far as layouts, so you can choose how it's being shown to you. But I liked having these extra habits on there, so I just made like this custom layout for myself in 2024. And I'll be using that again in 2025. This page has changed. I went ahead and added the fasting hours insert on this side this time around. This is available in my shop as is. It has a 12-hour version and a 24-hour version in case you need to track all 24 hours of the day for your fasting limits. So I'll be using that again. This is different as far as being in my health planner. I had previously had 2 full charts for my meds and supplements, as well as my symptoms, and decided to go to this 2-page monthly for tracking things like my workouts, but also I really want to dig deep into my strength training routines in 2025. So I need a little more room to figure that out, as well as my like nutrition as well, macros and protein and things like that I'm trying to make bigger gains and more progress in my health and fitness. So I'm going to start with this. We'll see if I can make this work as is, just a simple layout. I may need to do something custom, but I wasn't really in the headspace to create something custom at this time. So we're going to start with this, and I'll set it up and show you guys how I'm using it, and we will see how it all comes together in 2025. And then the weekly pages, I decided to stick with the lined vertical for this first month. I did go back and forth with the idea of maybe doing a grid layout instead, similar to my hourly grid layout, but without the hours. I may still do that, but I wanted to not overwhelm myself with too many new things in 2025, seeing as I'm changing some things up in my health planner. So we're going to stick with this since I've been using this for a majority of 2024 and really enjoyed this layout. So I'll be doing that again. And then on the back of the planner, I went ahead and moved those meds and supplements and symptom trackers to the back and combined them into one page. This is something new, something custom for myself. I was just finding that I needed a little less of the symptom tracking and a little less tracking in general. So I'm hoping that this more condensed layout will be less burdensome in the mornings, but still give me enough information for me to find useful as the year progresses. So that is my health planner. The fourth planner we're going to go through here is my agenda planner. using some rose gold discs along with an old Happy Planner Notes cover, one of my favorite covers of all time. So it'll be nice to see this pulled back out. And again, it's just some old dividers from, I think this was a Happy Planner Faith planner. No annual pages. Those are all basically in the year planner. And here we have the inserts again from my shop for the very first month. I am making some changes in this planner as well, so I only printed out the first month as a trial. If things go well, we will print out the rest of the month, or at least the first half of the year. If it all goes smoothly. If it doesn't go smoothly, then I'll make changes before February comes up. And here what I did was I kept the month overview page here with the long to-do list and the habits that I like to track in the open space up here. But on this page, this was my monthly goals in 2024. And I have went back to the 2-page monthly goals setup, which is available in my shop as is with the weekly tasks next to it. Just for better productivity, I feel like I was a little bit more productive and front of mind with my goals when I did this 2-page layout with the weekly tasks broken down. So I'm going to do that again in 2025. And because of that, I had to make some adjustments to what I was going to do. Whereas this used to be 2-page monthly, I condensed it down to 1 to allow for those weekly tasks to be added in next to my goals. This should be fine. I did a single-page monthly in the past for like events and appointments and stuff. And since I'm not super busy, I don't have a lot going on, this was plenty of space for me to get everything done. Plus, I like having them side by side with the to-do list, so I'm looking forward to trying this out and seeing how it works. And the big change is going to be to my weekly layout. This is a brand new layout that I'll be bringing to my shop. Hopefully I'll have it there by the time you see this video, but if not, it will be coming soon. I'm calling this my hourly dashboard layout, and I tried this out in November on a single week, and I really liked it. I've been really struggling to stay productive without having an hourly schedule with my horizontal layout. So I thought that I would try this and see if I can marry 2 of my favorite things together into one spread, because I do like having this kind of horizontal dashboard style layout, tasks and things by day. But then I also really enjoy and need a time blocking schedule for the day and or week. So I didn't want to go down to a daily because I felt like those would be just too overwhelming to design and keep up with, but really need that hourly schedule at a glance every day. So this is my solution to that. That week trial in November went pretty well. I was able to decorate it, make it fun to look at, but also keep it very functional. So I am going to see if this is going to be the long-term solution for me into 2025. I think a lot of you are seeking something like this. So like I said, I'm going to be bringing this to my shop if it's not there already. And hopefully you will find it useful as well for marrying those 2 items in your own planner. So I have the weeklies printed out, and then the last spread in this section of my planner is my social media section. This is a custom layout built out of some single-page monthlies, along with some things that I personally use. It's not available in my shop as is, but again, if there's enough interest in any of these layouts, I can bring it to my shop. I just don't want to bring it for a one-off because it's quite a bit of work to set up listings and different sizes and things like that. So I need to know that it's going to be worthwhile. If by chance you're the only one who wants it, reach out and again through Etsy, and I can do a custom order for you. And I have this notes page, which right now is empty, and I have a plan. I'm thinking to do a monthly review on this page. I need to work out how I want it set up. So we're just going to do it by hand the first month, And then if I like it after, a month or two, I figure out a good setup, then I will probably make an insert for my shop for it and continue it throughout the rest of the year. So that is my agenda planner. Last but not least, we have my budget planner. I am again using an older Happy Planner cover with some gold medal discs. These ones are, I think, mini discs from the Happy Planner and inserts from my own shop. So for this guy, I am using the same budget layout as I did in 2024, but I've removed a couple of the annual pages. So here at the front, I have a few year at a glance type pages, including this perpetual calendar, again, the one that you find with all of my combined planners. This I'll be using for tracking my daily Etsy sales. So I just basically write down every day how much the sales were the previous day and keep track of it that way. Then right on the back of that, no separator page, I printed out the year at a glance as well as a yearly overview from that budget planner in my shop. There are multiple pages and styles of some of these annual pages that you can use. These are the two that I find the most useful. This one just kind of gives me a breakdown of maybe like annual expenses. So like, car insurance we pay once a year, things like that. I can put it down in the month so I know it's coming. Or, like memberships, Costco membership, thing like that, that again are annual, or quarterly things that break down not every month, but, every 3 months or 4 months. So anyway, that is how this is set up. And then I use this layout over here for just an overview of our income, expenses, savings. I can kind of see if we have, a good month where we had a lot of income, maybe not that many expenses, or vice versa. If we have a big expense and, a standard month of income, then kind of see it at a glance, both here in numbers. And then I also like to chart it here in this graph down below. And then on the back, I have an yearly payment tracker, which I will actually put in the amount that I paid and the normal bills and things that we pay out, just so I can see how it changes over time. Things like utilities and stuff, it's really helpful to see if there's heavy months of, higher utility bills, or if you have rent or something like that, or changes to your housing situation, you may need to see, how things change or, are going to grow, interest payments, things like that. So I really like this layout. There is a vertical one, I think, as well in the planner, but I really like having the extra room for actually adding in the amounts as well. So I use this one that's the sideways version. And normally I would also add in on the yearly the account trackers. So we have a number of checking and savings accounts in different banks and stuff. And so I was tracking that in 2024, but I feel like, I don't know, I just need to condense a little bit more of my budget tracking. A lot of that information really I can get just straight out of the app without having to research. So I think I'm just going to leave those pages off and stick to the digital version for that. But I will be tracking my monthly bills, payments, and expenses. So these are part of my budget planner. This one here I'll be using for bill pay, basically, as well as income that comes in. Being self-employed and also being a freelancer, I get income at different times throughout the month. And my husband also kind of has his own income schedule. So I use this to set up when the income comes in and when the bills are going out. And then I'll also write down income or expenses on one column and income here, just so that I can keep it kind of condensed, but I can actually see the numbers. I do have a budget setup video if you want to know more about how I'm using these pages from 2024 and from 2023 with a different budget planner, but with a similar setup if you want to see, like I said, more information. And then over here is just basically a breakdown of all that same information. So I have that all set up, ready to go for each month. And then a couple of pages of monthly expenses. So I usually end up using roughly 2 pages for all of our monthly expenses. But I went ahead and printed 3 so I could have a complete month and then move on to the next month. So in case there's a really heavy month of expenses, I have that extra room. But basically, this is where I will track the expenses. And there are some different options available in that budget planner, but this is the one I decided to use throughout 2024 and 2025. So I have all of the months set up for the rest of the year for my budget planner. And these dividers are also a DIY project that I did years ago and continuously reuse year after year. And that's it. That's my last planner. And that's it, friends. All of the individual planners that I'll be using for 2025 to feed into my catch-all Frankenplanner. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. I thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below. And I will see you next time. Bye.